He says, "Oh my God, you mean they're still discussing this stuff?" I said, "Yeah, of course they're still discussing this stuff, because this stuff is the stuff that scholarship is made of and that academic inquiry is made of." Tonight we enter the world of scholars who have diametrically opposing views on the subject of the origins and foundations of what we know today as Western civilization. One school of thought is that it is distinctly African or Afro-Asian in origin. The other, that Western civilization in large measure is the bequest of ancient Greece. Make no mistake, this is not a mere difference of opinion in the ivory tower. The battle itself has become an allegory for something as important as the debate itself. Academic insurgents have breached the ramparts of the Academy's high priesthood, and the battle is as much for the authority to write history and for how to write history. Our task tonight is to ferret out the truth insofar as we can discern it, but more importantly, to question and challenge. And we have four incredible people with us tonight, and I'd like to introduce them to you and have them come to the stage as they're introduced. Already on stage is Professor John Henrik Clarke. They were standing for you, Dr. Clarke. Teacher, historian, writer, lecturer, John Henrik Clarke is a unique resource and a special institution in the African world. Beginning in his early years, Dr. Clarke studied the world history of African people and became a master teacher. He has authored and or edited more than 30 books, short stories, and pamphlets on African and African American history, and is Distinguished Professor Emeritus of African World History in the Department of Africana and Puerto Rican Studies at Hunter College. Professor John Henrik Clarke. I'd like to ask to the stage Dr. Martin Bernal. Dr. Martin Bernal has been a professor of government at Cornell University since 1972 and an adjunct professor of Near Eastern Studies also at Cornell since 1986. Educated at King's College, Cambridge, where he earned his doctorate in Chinese Studies in 1966, and at Peking University, the University of California, and Harvard, Dr. Bernal's works have been widely reviewed and criticized, in many instances as controversial. His chief publications are the two-set volume Black Athena, The Afro-Asiatic Roots of Classical Civilization, and Cadmean Letters, The Westward Diffusion of the Semitic Alphabet Before 1400 BC. Dr. Martin Bernal. I invite to the stage Professor Mary Lefkowitz. Okay. Nice to meet you. Thank you. You can sit right here. Mary Lefkowitz is Andrew Mellon Professor in the Humanities at Wellesley College. She is the author of Not Out of Africa, How Afrocentrism Became an Excuse to Teach Myth as History, and is co-editor of Women's Life in Greece and Rome. With fellow lesbian Guy MacLean Rogers, she co-edited Black Athena Revisited, a collection of 20 essays by scholars from a broad range of disciplines who take dead aim at Dr. Bernal's Black Athena specifically, but contend generally that the Africa-centeredness of scholarship on the roots of what is called classical civilization is blatant revisionism. Dr. Mary Lefkowitz. I invite to the stage Professor Guy MacLean Rogers. Professor Rogers, as I said, is also at Wellesley College, where he is an associate professor of Greek and history. With Dr. Lefkowitz, he co-edited Black Athena Revisited and is author of The Sacred Identity of Ephesus, Foundation Myths of a Roman City. Professor Rogers. So here we have a rather distinguished panel, and I would like them first to begin with their conclusions. They will have about no more than 5 minutes to summarize their major thrust this evening. Professor Clarke, we will start with you. To summarize, they will have about no more than 5 minutes to summarize their major thrust this evening. Professor Clarke, we will start with you.
I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach. Shall we continue or what? I'm not clear now. You treat. Broadly speaking, honestly speaking, the book, Not Out of Africa, a good sophomore effort, is not really about Not Out of Africa. Last year it was the bell curve. This year it's Not Out of Africa. Next year it'll be something else. This is part of a world war against the role of African people in the history of the world. If we began history, began mankind, how is it that the last branch of the human race to enter that arena marked civilization now think they brought civilization? Now, it is part of a wall over and above Professor Lefkowitz's book and over and above her political naivete. Her naivete is about what is happening in the Western world. There was a recent book called The Tribe. It diagrammed every people, major people on the earth, searching for a piece of turf for themselves. It left out the African people. because the other people, including Asian imperialists, have plans to take over Africa. There have been several articles in the New York Times advocating the recolonization of Africa. This book and other literature of this nature mean to prepare the world to accept a rationalization for the re-enslavement of Africa. Now, and when you deal with the black endorsers of the book, running dogs of the new imperialism, professional white behind kissers, and as Carlos Cook used to say, a disgrace to the skin they wear. These people, if I be so kind to call them that, are running from themselves and teaching us a lesson that we should have learned long ago. Sometimes white wannabes are more dangerous than whites. And sometimes they'll fight you harder to be accepted by whites. They are running from their own people and running from definition. Now, what we need to look at now is how Professor Lefkowitz neglected the white writers through history, the radical European writers who wrote positively of Africa and who identified the relationship of Africa to the ancient Greeks. Now, if given time, and I probably won't be given it this evening, I can prove to you with your satisfaction, if you are listening, that Rome and Greece was not European creations. These were Mediterranean-inspired nations and couldn't be created by Europe because at the time there was no Europe.